and welcome back. A friend of mine reached out recently to ask for some help with this bass drum he had hopes of re-wrapping to match some of his other drums. He ordered this wrap from Jammin Sam Drum Wraps, and in addition to the wrap, they also provided the adhesive strips for this project as well. As you can see, our first step was stripping the drum down to bare bones. The trickiest part of the prep was removing the badge and grommet. I used a countersink bit to drill out the flange holding the grommet in place, and once we popped that out, I used some dental floss to get under the badge and remove it without bending or damaging it. While we had this drum broken apart, we decided it would also be a good idea to add new bass drum spurs that would be more gig-worthy and sturdy. We were lucky to be able to use 2 of the holes that were already there from the previous brackets, but in addition we had to add 2 more. I always recommend using the rubber gasket as a template for these holes and lay down plenty of tape to have a space to mark up the shell, but also to help prevent blowout while drilling. Once we had everything prepped, we could finally get to wrapping this drum. If you're wrapping a bass drum, you'll often need 2 pieces of wrap to get around the whole circumference of the shell. We spent plenty of time getting the layout just right, and then finally used a piece of tape and a square to get a reference line before we clamped down and attached this wrap to the shell. I like to have plenty of these spring clamps on hand in the process, and if you don't own any, they're fairly cheap at your local hardware store, Harbor Freight, or Amazon. Once everything was lined up and clamped down, we went and attached the far side of the wrap permanently. And then we came back and removed the clamps and got the reference side adhered to the shell. Before adding the second and larger piece of wrap, I wanted to drill out a few of the holes and add some of the lugs back in place. These lugs act as a permanent clamp for the wrap and help keep everything secure long term and add some pressure. So again, the same process with the larger section of wrap was laying out our reference, clamping down the wrap in place, and then attaching the first side and coming back and getting the reference point. When it comes time to drill out the holes for hardware, you can use a light on the inside of the shell to help give you an idea of where those holes are from the outside. If your wrap is too thick, or there's places where the wrap overlaps, you have to go from the inside and drill outwards, but for most, the light trick works great and avoids the potential for tear out of the wrap. Once everything was attached, we had ourselves a brand new looking drum to match the rest of Andrew's kit. I had a great experience with this wrap and found it to be a fairly simple project and pretty user-friendly. I'd highly recommend checking out Jammin Sam if you're ever in need of a wrap. If you've ever re-wrapped a drum and would like to share your experiences, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more regular content. Until next time, thanks.